Anything you want to be. It's not what you got, it's how you use it. You be you and I'll be me, just a matter of time. You can't fake it, mile after mile, feeling free. If you got a soul, you can make it. Move them out, let them roll from sea to shining sea. Ball, cannonball. What do you do when the mountain is there? How do you answer the challenging dare? And when your back's against the wall, what do you do when you've done it all? Cannonball, cannonball, cannonball. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. Be anything you want to be. It's not what you got, it's how you use it. You be you and I'll be me, it's just a matter of style. You can't fake it, mile after mile, feeling free. If you got the soul, you can make it. Move them out, let them roll from sea to shining sea. Ball, cannonball. Hey now, cannonball, cannonball, cannonball. Ooh, cannonball. Woo-hoo! Cannonball! Yes, indeed. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters. This is the AOR Hype Energy F1 2017 Season 15, round number 9 here at the Temple of Speed, Monza in Italy. My name is King-Kodiak, and I will be your commentator throughout this evening's race. And yes, it was requested that that version of the Cannonball Run be played. It's completely thrown me off my balance, but never mind. I was going to save that for the end of the season, but oh well, we're halfway through. Why not throw it in there? We have got 15 drivers with us for this evening's race. Just myself in the commentary box, as my faithful companion Hamish is on holiday. He's in the south of Spain, so hoping you have better weather than we do, and hoping you're having a good time down there. So we are looking at Fabrizio Donoso. He's just started his lap. Let us follow him through then as he comes through the Rettifilio, heaviest braking zone in the lap. Hard on the loud pedal through Curva Grande. Stays over hard to the apex for the time being. Everybody out on the super soft tyres, and Brennan Lee getting the first time on the board of 1:19.857. Bit of a lockup going into the Daroggia, but nothing too bad. Into the Lesmos for the first time lap. Lesmo 1. Wander over to the left hand side, keep it off the AstroTurf, and then catch the apex for the banked second Lesmo. As we are seeing the boards the times on the board come streaming in. I'm told it's going to be very, very close. Steve getting the new pole time at 1:19.791 into the Ascari for Fabrizio Donoso in the McLaren. Through he comes. I beg your pardon, Jan Fehler. I'm not on about Fabrizio. It's because Fabrizio's name's up here, so it's actually Jan Fehler we were looking at. As soon as I said that, I was like, I'm sure he's not in the McLaren. Never mind, round the Parabolica. It's been an interesting day. It's Father's Day here in the UK, so I've had quite an enjoyable day, but it's frazzled my brain somewhat, but never mind. And Jan got a 1:24.58 with that particular lap. The current pole time, as you can see, is the Haas of Steve, 1:19.791. Currently second is the Mercedes of Brendan Lee, our championship leader. He's actually done another one. He's decided to fuel up for 2 laps. And there it is then. Not by much, to be fair. 1:19.718 is his... So there we go. Less than a tenth. Just 73 thousandths separates the Haas and the Mercedes. I am informed it's going to be close for tonight's race. That's the way we like it. Marcel Kiefer in the Force India, 1:19.880 for his time lap. His fuel light very much red, and that is going to be him for now. Graham Carroll in the Red Bull, 4th, 1:20.017. Even that's not far the leader. It's just shy of 3/10, so a decent effort by him. Photon, he's back in the pits there, 1:20.069. Look at that, 3 cars within his 10th there. Oh, we've got a problem in Sector 3, it would seem. Again, no indication as to who. Carey has yet to set a time. I think it's fair to say that Formula Danny and Fabrizio Donoso had to abandon their laps, 1:25.3 and 1:27.3 respectively. Let us see, as most people are obviously coming back into the pits after their respective laps, hoping you're all well. And it's going to be a stunner here in Monza. Less than 6 minutes to go then, so already most of the qualifying session's gone. There is VP Max, he's in 7th in the Renault, 1:21.74. I mean, even assuming that Nonno was the last of the laps done in anger as opposed to Urbana was, and I mean, he's a second off the back of Jan Failure, so we could probably disregard his laps. From 1st to 11th is within a second, so that is pretty impressive. Marcel Kiefer still out there? Yeah, he's crawling around trying to get that Force India back to the pits. He's not going to have a lot of time when he gets back there. Well, he has just got back there to get the fuel back up. I'd imagine there's not many people in the chat because the World Cup is still in full swing. Not a football fan, so that the World Cup has no interest to me, but I imagine there are a lot of people that would normally be here that are choosing the World Cup instead. Fair enough, if that's your thing, so be it. Did see one of the Saubers coming back out. Was that Formula Danny coming back out? It was indeed. The Season 14 champion coming out for another run. His season has been a little bit mixed, I think it's fair to say. He is currently 2nd in the championship behind Brendan Lee by 78 points. 3 full victories is Brendan's advantage at the moment. But anything could change. Love those last 2 comments by Hamish by Neto there. Is there football on? And maybe a Dutchman, but I hate football. Love it. Yeah, I'm no fan of it. Motorsport has always been my thing. Although when I used to commentate Rocket League, I used to constantly be compared to a Premier League football commentator. So maybe there's a different calling for me in life if the esports commentary doesn't come off. Carl Hamilton has come out in the Williams along with Donoso in the second Haas. There he is. Brendan Lee has only finished 1st or 2nd this season. He's only finished 2nd twice, once behind this man, Fabrizio Donoso, and the other one behind this man, Formula Danny. So it is possible to topple the mighty Mercedes, but at the moment he is still looking strong. As Formula Danny winds up to start his first time lap in anger, he's got a lot of clear track ahead of him. DRS open on the Sauber. Oh, just as someone pulls out in front of him, that's Steve, and he does indeed back off. And he does not hold up the Sauber at all. Coming through Rettifilio. I can't do the rolling R sound properly, so I won't try too many times. Those that have enjoyed the intro sequence, you've suffered enough. So there we go. Through D'Orologia into the Lesmos. I think that was a little bit of dust from the outside there, as opposed to tyre smoke. Of course, we do sometimes see tyre lockups from our perspective that are not indeed accurate. Down to the Ascari. Turns 8, 9 and 10. Just keep it tight to the middle apex so you get a decent exit from the 3 turns. Who's that? He's catching up with that. Whoops, that is. Can't quite tell, but they're far enough away. They shouldn't hold up. Oh, it's one of the Mercedes. Must therefore be Brendan Lee. And the time for Formula Danny is third, 1:19.792, 1/1000th of a second behind the former pole time of Steve. That is, I was told it was going to be close, and it is not disappointing either. There is the Haas of Steve coming over the line. Does he improve? He does not, but I think he's just starting his time lap, to be fair. Oh, problem in sector 2. That's from the Del Roger towards the Ascari, but someone overshooting the Lesmos, I would imagine. That was cleared up pretty quickly. Marcel Kiefer is... Everybody except for Carey is out on a lap or on a hot lap or out lap. Interestingly, Carey has opted not to come out. Well, it's too late for him to do so now. And we have a new pole time on the board. It is Fabrizio Donoso in the house, 1:19.649. The gap between the 69 thousandths between Donoso and Brendan Lee. So Brendan not on a time lap yet. So he's finding himself some space. He's a little bit unlucky. He's kind of caught someone just before he was coming into the Parabolica. Over comes the championship leader then. Let's follow him through. Let us see what he is able to do. Everybody is out there, as we say, except for Carey, into the Rettifilio. A little bit deep on the first apex, but nothing too bad. You need to stay tight to the first one to get a decent exit from the second apex. Nailed to the apex around Cava Grande. Hard on the loud pedal, 208 miles an hour just as he hits the braking board. And we've lost Formula Danny. Has he had a problem? No, he has returned to the pits and retired his car, which is correct. That is what you are meant to do. Through the first Lesmo. There's the second one. Didn't quite catch the apex. It's slightly banked on that second apex of the Lesmos. And Donoso improved. 1:19.543. So that's a couple of tenths, or 1.5 tenths that Brendan Lee has to find through the Ascari. And Steve has retired. The Photon's gone up to third. And Steve's had trouble somewhere. He's actually retired on circuit. Photon came across the line. 1:19.721. Oh, that's Brendan Lee I'm trying to find. So Photon finished just 0.003 of a second behind Brendan Lee's current time. Brendan Lee does improve with a 1:19.394. Wow, goodness me. Broke the pole time by 1.5 tenths. He was looking good as he was in the hands of Donoso, and once again Brendan Lee shows up and smashes it. Wow, the Mercedes seems unstoppable. Oh, and that's one of the Hasses. That's either Donoso or Steve. It's Donoso. Oh dear. So that hasn't gone well for him. Graham Carroll has retired the car. He's actually still on track as well. Non-runner has also retired the car along with Jan Fader. They should really return to the pits before they do it, unless of course they have a problem. Timp, we didn't really see him at all. As he returns then to the pits, he will start 11th. So top to... Oops, I was a little bit close to the pit wall. Top to bottom is 1.1 seconds. That is all. From 1st to 14th, of course, Carey not setting a time, so we don't know what his pace is at the moment. Everybody has either retired or returned to the pits, so we just got to wait for the countdown timer. That's interesting. Tim's car has magically vanished as it's being pushed back into the pit lane. Big also shout out to the recent signing of a new sponsor for Apex Online Racing. Thrustmaster has been added to the sponsor list, so we welcome them on the board as well. We look forward to a long and fruitful partnership with them. Everyone else's car is pretty much ghosted at this point, just crawling around. The timer sitting at 30 seconds. Possibly Dorneden we're waiting to have a retirement of before the session is concluded, but it will be concluded in 30 seconds nonetheless. So, Brendan Lee from the top spot with that incredible 1:19.394. Donoso joins him on the front low. Good God, get my words sorted out. 1:19.543. Marcel Kiefer jumped into third position in the Force India. 1:19.656 with Photon in fourth. Steve 5, Sauber 6. The Hungarian trio there, 4, 5 and 6, with Formula Danny pushed down to 6th position in the end. Carl Hamilton and Graham Carroll round out row 4. Dorneden and Max in row 5. Tim Benaresi, didn't really see the Ferrari come out. They round up row 6. Jan Fehler and non-runner in row 7. And Carey will start from the back of the pack, like it or not. So again, not proving a particularly hot season for the Reds so far, but you never know what can happen. A season can dramatically change in just a few short rounds. Down to the grid we go. What is the weather going to be doing? Bone dry and burning hot. Not a surprise for Italy. So the drivers then, we all know the drill by now. They have 30 seconds now to make any last minute changes they wish to do. Finalise their strategies in their minds. Think about what they're going to do on the run down. It's a very, very busy turn 1. Turns 1 and 2, the rest video. It is an absolute amazing opportunity for things to go absolutely chaotic. But we will see then what the best of the PC drivers have got in store. It is down to the grid then. The 5 lights are on. It is time to wind them up and let them go. Can the Mercedes get a decent drive? He does indeed, with the Force India of Marcel Kiven, and he gets barged off the road by Fabrizio Donoso, who himself had a semi-decent start, but the Force India had a much better one. Bit of a lockout for Brendan Lee coming into the red video. Nothing too bad going on at the moment. Lots of position changes, as you can see, but no bits of carbon fibre, no broken braking boards, as Marcel Kiefer has actually got that second position from Fabrizio Donoso. If we get on board with the house, if I can get the right name, there we go. It was actually side by side coming through the Curva Grande, and Marcel Kiefer's got the move done once again. Marcel Kiefer had a great start, looking several wide as they're coming through the first Lesmo. Look at that, that's Photon and Carl Hamilton side by side through the first Lesmo into the second one, and Carl Hamilton is ahead. Oh, big snap of oversteer by the Veloci driver, side by side with his teammate then. That's Danny and a Photon then. Danny being demoted to 7th. Not a great start for him. He's got the inside for the first part of a scurry. That could have gone nasty, but he decided to break out of that, and he remains to fight another day. Great stuff so far. Looks like everybody has managed to make it through the first lap then. That's one of the Red Bulls. That will be Graham Carroll putting a move on ACR Tim coming into the Parabolica. He's gone very sideways, rally crossing that car through the Parabolica for the first lap. Wow, that was very, very well held. And towards the back there's Jan Fehler with both the Ferraris, and that is non-runner right with him as well. That's going to get very busy for them as they come into the first turn. And all so far so good. Tim's had a pretty good start. He is on those soft tyres. He's on harder rubber than the rest. So not a bad effort for him. But out front, look at that. That's the lead Brendan Lee has for himself. Just about 2 seconds over the Force India, just in a single lap. And look at the train of cars behind Marcel Kiefer. Donoso, Steve, Hamilton, Photon, Formula Danny, Dorneden, and ACR Tim, and Graham Carroll, and even VP Max. That's all the way down to 11th, all within DRS range of one another. And you can see further back, those on the harder tyres aren't that far behind either. This is the view from VP Max. He's at the back of this particular train as we jump one further up, because Max has fallen off the back of that particular train. It looks like Graham Carroll starting up for a move on the second Mercedes of Tim. Tim, of course, running the harder tyres at the moment, and Graham Carroll decides to jump back in the slipstream, back on the outside for Parabolica. Can he get it done? Oh, he's not quite got the momentum. He's not alongside enough, and that is, he's slotted back in position. Brendan Lee, of course, getting the fastest up again, and Graham Carroll is remaining within the slipstream of the Mercedes. Now going to have the inside for the Rettifidio. Can he get it done? No, the pace of that Mercedes is pretty impressive at the moment. He's now going to make a big move on the inside. The first one of the Rettifidio, a bit of impact between the two, and well defended there by Tim. We have a pit already. Jan Fehler. Jan Fehler from the McLaren is in. A new nose for the McLaren. The start has gone horribly wrong for the McLaren. What a great shame. Up front, though, no such disasters for Brendan Lee. There, you just see him go out of the shot, coming through the first Esmo, and that top pack. Only Timp has fallen out of DRS range of Don Eden. That's between 8th and 9th. So that's the view that Marcel Kiefer has for himself. 2.5 seconds separates him and the Mercedes. But Donoso's fallen off the back a little bit of the Force India. Steve, however, has got his mirrors absolutely full of Williams. Carl Hamilton is really keeping the pressure on. He wants that 4th position. Well, that's Formula Danny running a little bit wide of the exit of the Ascari. But no damage done. He managed to keep it clear of the wall. Look how much pressure that Steve has for himself as they come through. Brendan Lee once again. 122.792. That's the view from the Williams. DRS now available to our drivers. And let us see. Of course, all of this row right the way back to 8th position has DRS. They're pretty much just keeping themselves in touch with Marcel Kiefer, who he himself is trying his hardest to get away from that house of Fabrizio Donoso to try and chase down Brendan Lee, but he is not working out at the moment. But we have seen Marcel pull off some incredible pit strategies to really get himself back in contention. So far, yet to yield a win, but he's been so close on many occasions. We will see what happens. Anything can happen in this race. 27 laps here at Monza. We are on lap 4, so a long way to go as yet. Don Eden's actually made a mistake somewhere. He's fallen off the back of Formula Danny, and he's got his mirrors now full of Timp and Graham Carroll for 9th and 10th positions. So somewhere along the line, that Force India has made a mistake. Again, look at that pack there. If we look, that's the view from Formula Danny. If Donoso or Kiefer made a mistake, they could potentially drag a lot of cars with them. So that's a lot of pressure on those ahead. Oh, we've lost Carey. We have lost Carey from the race, and he's I don't know, that's on the exit of Ascari. His car has pulled over. So once again, Carey in the Ferrari is out of this race. Will his luck ever change? Brendan Lee leads by 2.7 seconds in the Mercedes over Marcel Kiefer in the Force India. Then it's the pair of Haas drivers of Fabrizio Donoso and Steve. Carl Hamilton in the Williams then has got Photon just behind him for company. Indeed, both Saubers of Photon and Formula Danny. And there they are. You can see just behind Don Eden. That's Tim trying to get on with it as well. It doesn't look like there's any damage on Don Eden, so it just looks like he's struggling a bit with that Force India. So, and again the tail just getting very loose on the exit of the second Lesmo, and that's Carey leaving the session. I assume the flags for Sector 3 are for his car, or possibly not, as the flags are now gone. I think that car has actually gone back to the pits now. It has indeed. So back to this battle then. This is for 8th place with Don Eden, Tim, Graham Carroll in short succession. You can see in the back of the shot there is VP Max in the Renault with the now sole Ferrari of Aresi. Non-runners fallen off this pack a little bit. There is the Red Bull, and Jan Fehler, of course, with that early pit stop put him a long way out of contention. Look at this lead train there. Because of the nature of Monza, it's such a high-speed circuit. It's just a big exercise for a lot of it, staying in contention and then getting into the very heavy braking zone, primarily for the Rettifilio, but also for here the Del Roggio. It's not as big a braking zone, but you make a mistake, like that, Donoso getting a little bit squirrely on the exit, and there was a big old gravel trap waiting for you. Now, you won't get beached, but it will slow you down something awful. You can get the Lesmos wrong, but it's not such a big braking zone, so you're still carrying a lot of momentum. And again, Donoso just catching a little bit too much apex, or a little bit too much curb, I should say. The tail got very loose and just caused this big old snap of oversteer. I wouldn't be at all surprised if Steve wouldn't hesitate to relieve Fabrizio Donoso of that third position as Graham Carroll gets himself a penalty. So easy to do. Also bear in mind that these drivers do not have any kind of driving assist available to them. They are driving the car as they were designed, you could argue. Donoso coming in the pits, no, just heavily defending the inside line of the Parabolica. Steve wasn't in a particular position to be able to attack that, so that was an interesting move. Again, look how closely compact the field is. You could almost see top to bottom, with the exception of Jan Vela. In fact, you can see that's not running the Red Bull, just going through the rest of the video. You just saw at the back of the shot. I would imagine Brendan Lee probably can't see them. I'm sure he's not particularly interested in seeing how many cars are behind him. He's well aware that. Oh, that was Marcel Kiefer getting a little bit tail happy coming through the Dorosia into the Lesmo. He's very nearly broken DRS range to Donoso, and that will really help. And there again, you saw the tail of that lead Haas just get very loose. Now, it could be these tyres are getting to the end of their life. They won't last particularly long. Bear in mind they have done qualifying on them as well. There you see Brendan Lee at the top of the shot. The Force India is not in a position where he has to defend, but he's still in DRS range of Fabrizio Donoso. Both Haases are right there with him, followed by the Williams and both Saubers. Round they come again. Is anyone going to jump into the pits? Nope. Everyone. Oh no! So did I say that? I was just about to say no, and it was actually Fabrizio Donoso first to come in. So we saw the tail of his car get very loose. So he has had enough of those, and it looks like he's going to go for the mediums. That's fair enough. And out he comes once again. So it is mediums then for the Haas. That is the only time he is going to come in. Big amount of wheel spin on that Haas as he rejoins, of course, at the tail of the field, because the field is still very compact. So Steve now still has Carl Hamilton for company there. You saw him in the shot, along with, and Photon looks like he's shaping up a move again on the Williams. But this also frees up Marcel Kiefer to start chasing after Brendan. He doesn't have to look behind him so much. And this exactly is what the Force India wanted. I wouldn't be surprised though. We've seen many a time where Marcel Kiefer does not match the same pit strategy as Brendan Lee. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually tried the same pit strategy this time. There you can see third place Steve in the now lead Haas. Looks like he was trying to break the toe. Bit of slips in there for Photon. Doesn't yield anything as yet. They're coming through the Curva Grandes. Carl Hamilton coming in. Yes, he does. The Williams now in. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if at this stage they are going to use the medium tyres rather. That's Formula Danny and Graham Carroll in as well. Carl Hamilton indeed on the white marked medium tyres, along with Formula Danny. Formula Danny's jumped Carl Hamilton. Very, very close, but the Sauber has managed to jump the Williams in the pit stops. Graham Carroll looks like he's on the soft tyres. That's an interesting choice, but why not? Yeah, give it a try. You never know what may happen. So they've got a fair amount of fighting to do at the tail end of the field. We will see how that yields for them. And Tim and Dorneden side by side then. Now Tim started on those soft tyres. The Supersofts look like they have had enough. In the background there you saw Max and Aresi on the soft tyres as well, so I would imagine the Renault of Max is going to struggle, and Tim trying to defend against the second Force India before they come through Ascari. And he manages to maintain the position, but look at the gap that Tim has managed to get for himself. That was half a second just on the exit of Ascari, so now the softs are really coming good as the Super Softs are pretty much coming to the end of their life. But it does look like the top four have not come in yet. An interesting call, so they're really stretching out their strategies. There we go. Unsurprisingly, Dorneden has chosen now to get rid of those. What does Max do? Max is coming in as well, so it's just the front four that have remained on their tyres. There goes the Force India. It looks like it's mediums for Dorneden, and it looks like it's going to be mediums for the Renault as well. Oh no, soft tyres. Soft tyres for VP Max, so he's trying that different strategy as well. I would imagine we will see him in the pits again. But Marcel Kiefer has closed in a little bit on Brendan Lee in the last few laps. Not by a great deal, but he has closed that gap in a little. Looking at Veloci Photon. keeping the pressure on Steve. Steve has not been able to relax at all. Where is Brendan Lee? There he is, just coming through Ascari. Marcel Kiefer just coming through it himself. 2.5 seconds separates those two. Then a further 2.5 seconds back to Steve, who has got Photon within 4/10 of him. There are the top 4. Who is going to come in? Will they all come in for their stop? What does race leader Brendan Lee do? He's in. Marcel Kiefer, exactly as I said, he's matched the strategy. All 4 of the remaining Supersoft runners have decided to come in. That is going to hand the lead over to the second Mercedes. ACR Timp, as the VP Max goes into a penalty. That's very unfortunate. So who's going on to what? Brendan Lee comes out on the soft tyres. Marcel Kiefer the same. All 4 of these runners are coming out on soft tyres. Denoso, a Formula Danny. No sooner do I read out one name than Formula Danny, then beats the time. Oh, that's going to be close between Danny and Marcel Kiefer. The Force India just manages to shut the Sauber down. But we are seeing a great mixture of strategies. Most people opting for the softs. We've got 4 runners that are on the mediums. So that is really going to be very, very interesting to see who wins that one out. ACR Tip on the soft tyres leads Aresi by 4 seconds. Non-runner, the top 3 yet to pit, is a 1.7 down. Brendan Lee on those Forest soft tyres, 9 seconds behind non-runner. Denoso now back up into second position. So it's really paid off well for him. He's on the mediums. The lead medium runner. He's really going to hope to try his best to stay in contention with Brendan Lee. Formula Danny is the next medium runner down the road. He's got Marcel Kiefer right ahead of him. Lovely helicam shot as they head on down to the Parabolica once again. And you can see that Formula Danny has really got a lot of pace out of those mediums. And as yet, Marcel Kiefer has not been able to stretch his legs. Of course, he's only just come out, so give it time, you could argue. DRS available for the Sauber and the Force India respectively. There you see, look at the pack behind though. Steve in 8th, Carl Hamilton 9, Graham Carroll and Photon also in very short succession. Carl Hamilton on the medium tyres, the rest on the softs. That's so fascinating to see how that plays out as Max just loses a position through the Rettifilio to Donida. So he made a mistake coming into that chicane. It looks like he's back up the pace again. So nothing to worry about there. Jan Failer, of course, closed in a bit, but he's running the soft tyres. It's a very lonely race for the McLaren. Tim continuing to lead the way. He won't be in the pits for a while, I shouldn't think. There you can see the top 3. But Brendan Lee is closing in and closing in fast on non-runner. The gap now down to 7.4. Denoso has got Marcel Kiefer for company. Those soft tyres now beginning to work on the Force India, but he's dragging Formula Danny with him. Steve is just outside of DRS range of the season 14 champion. But this is not what Kiefer wanted. He didn't want the medium runner of Formula Danny to stay with him. He needed to break away, and that hasn't worked out so far for him. But look at that pack of 4 behind. Graham Carroll shaping up for a move on Carl Hamilton. The Williams having to defend very early, before they came into Rettifilio. And that's Dorneden and Max once again challenging for the Renault, challenging for that 12th place. And Dorneden successfully defends into the Rettifilio once again. That's Graham Carroll and Carl Hamilton side by side. And the Red Bull has one out, and that's a ghosted car. That's Carl Hamilton. Carl Hamilton's in trouble. Either that or he's got the weirdest desync in the world, but that car looks ghosted to me. We have seen a few sync issues before. That's either a sync problem or that is the fastest ghost I've ever seen. So I think it's safe to assume that Carl Hamilton is still running. As Photon now gets his name on the penalty board. Photon currently in... There's Velocity Photon. Being blind. Where is he? He's in 11th. So he's trying his hardest to keep up with those ahead of him. As Brendan Lee now is starting to get into his stride. Fastest lap once again for the Mercedes, 1:22.4. It's now 6 seconds between himself and non-runner. It'll be interesting to see whether the four ahead put on any kind of fight. Marcel Kiefer was side by side with Fabrizio Donoso before they came into the rest video. Remember, Marcel Kiefer is on the softer rubber. It's debatable whether the soft will last from when they came in at lap 10 to the end of the race. Oh, Marcel Kiefer getting side by side. A little bit of wheel banging between the two, but no harm done. I was very, very optimistic to try something in the outside of the first Lesmo, but again, Fabrizio Donoso getting the tail to wag a little bit too much on the exit of the second Lesmo. DRS open now on the Force India. Can he do something before he gets to Ascari? He jumps to the inside, but opts not to, but he's very close. Risking the front wing, rather, as Graham Carroll gets another penalty on the board on the Red Bull. Donoso staying very much to the inside line. That's a big old statement of intent. But now he's gone back to the racing line. Marcel has a look on the inside coming into Parabolica, but no change of position yet. And Formula Danny is staying a little bit further back from that particular battle. He can't wander back too far. Steve is not too far behind. Now the Force India drawing alongside Graham Carroll getting the fastest lap, 1:22.405. These two drawing alongside the Haas and the Force India. Marcel Kiefer on the outside. What can he do on the Red Video? He's now on the inside line. Can he push the Haas out wide? He does, and then Formula Danny's starting to get involved. What's going to happen as they come through the Curva Grande? The Haas pushed the Sauber wide a little bit, but still, Formula Danny's got the momentum. He's still there. He wants that particular position. That's the view from the Haas as Formula Danny storms on through into 6th position before they get to the Del Rossia. Great stuff from the Sauber. Through the Lesmo. That is far from done. Steve is also in that battle as Dornini gets his name on the penalty board. Oh, wow, there's a few people wondering a bit wide. There's Graham Carroll in the background, so this train is looking set to get very much bigger very, very quickly. That's what it looks like from Fabrizio Donoso. Steve has essentially rolled himself out of this particular battle. Goodness me, that's not going to go well for him as Temp in the Mercedes from the lead comes in on lap 15. So did an additional 5 laps to all the Super Soft runners. He's going on to Super Softs. That's an interesting decision. But then there is 10 laps to go, so it could well work. It's a very different strategy, but of course that's going to put him a long way down the field. And now he comes in 11th place, but he's going to have very fast tyres when they come up to speed. Look at this lot though. Marcel Kiefer currently at the head of this particular train. In 4th place, Aresi leads by 1.9 seconds over non-runner. Those two yet to come in. Brendan Lee just under 3 seconds now from the back of the front pair. Marcel Kiefer has a lot of defending to do as Formula Danny runs a little bit wide on the exit of the Del Rossia. Fabrizio Donoso fending off his teammate for everything he's got, but Graham Carroll's now right in there. Oh, we've lost Max! Oh, there he is. Just as I looked away, Graham Carroll and Steve swap position as they came out of the second Lesmo. I looked away at the wrong moment there as the Red Bull storms ahead of the Haas. We've lost VP Max, retirement number 2. We saw Max facing the wrong way, and his car is going to pull over and retire. That is the Renault done for the day. But Graham Carroll just pulled off a great move, and I looked away at the wrong moment. Aresi then from the lead and non-runner both come into the pits and handing the lead back over to Brendan Lee. But I would imagine Aresi and non-runner are both going to go into the Super Soft tyres. And indeed non-runner does. It's still showing Aresi on the mediums, interestingly. Never mind about that. Look at these two. Steve and Graham Carroll still fighting over that, what is now 5th position. The Haas trying to do something about it. They might make the softs last long enough from when they came in. Is he going to have a think about it on the entrance of Retifidia, of the Del Rossia rather? Not yet, but he's keeping the pressure on. And just behind, you can see Carl Hamilton and Photon fending one of the Carl Hamilton fending off Veloci Photon. And still these two are fighting for 5th position. Graham Carroll took it in dramatic style. Last lap of the exit of the second Lesmo. And the Haas trying to do something. There's a big dive on the inside of the Ascari. There might be a few words said about that one. Graham Carroll tried to turn in, but there was a Haas in the way. And Steve then back up into 5th position as Dornina gets a name on the penalty board again. Donoso's fallen off the back of Formula Danny and Marcel Kiefer. That battle rages on. 5 seconds is the lead then for Brendan Lee in the Mercedes. We have got 9 laps to go as Timp gets his name on the fastest lap board with those super soft tyres. One of the second Sauber, that's Photon side by side with Carl Hamilton before they get down to the Rettifilio. The soft shot Sauber against the medium soft Williams, but look at the Mercedes of Timp trying to get in there as well. He was trying to sneak through the middle of them. Didn't quite come off. All 3 still in their original positions. Through cover Grande once again. Timp, of course, going to have the pace over these two with those very fresh, very soft tyres. And a big lockup then by the Sauber of Photon. Tim's going to have to bide his time and pick his moment well to try and get past those two. There is battles up and down the field, which is great to see, but very hard to keep up with. Oh, a big snap of oversteer then by Tim. That's going to halt his charge a little, but only a little. It looks like Photon shaping up for another move on the Williams on the outside, ending towards the entrance of Ascari. He's been pushed onto the inside, and this is an opportunity for Tim. What a great comeback. Can he get the pair of them? He's got the Sauber. Can he get the Williams before they get to the Parabolica? He's got the pace, but has he got the time? The answer is yes, he does. The Mercedes of ACR Timp. Great opportunistic move as the Sauber runs very wide on the Parabolica. ACR Tim nails the pair of them as they were fighting through Ascari. Wow, what a great move by Tim. He's got 4 seconds to close down before he gets to Graham Carroll, but he has got a lot of pace in those tyres. But how long will those tyres last? That is the golden question. Very, very nice. Let's have a rundown on where everybody is. Brendan Lee in the Mercedes, coming through the Lesmos, leads by 5.3 over the Force India of Marcel Kiefer. Once again, we see Lee leading the way over the Force India. Formula Danny in the Sauber, hanging on to that podium position. He's kept the Force India true, but he has got the Haas of Donoso, who started on the front row here. He's got the Haas within DRS range. 2.6 down the road is the second Haas of Steve with Graham Carroll for company. Charging on in the super soft shot. Second Mercedes is Tim. Now 3.5 seconds. He's close. Half a second down in this lap alone. So he's got fight left in that Mercedes. Hamilton, we saw having a fight with Tim and Photon through the Ascari last time around. There is the second Sauber of the F2 champion from season 14 of Veloci Photon. Dawn Eden, who's had yet again a torrid race. He's got his name on the penalty board. There is a Resi still fighting off non-runner for 11th and 12th. And Tim, once again, 1:22, 0.83. That is another fastest lap. And Jan Freder at the back of the pack. In the McLarens, we see the Red Bull of non-runner shaping up for a move on the Ferrari. Side by side before they get to the first chicane. That's close, but the Ferrari fends that one off. Very nice. Oh, no, he does not. The Red Bull stayed alongside. He's got the inside there for the Curva Grande. He's on the super soft tyres. Can he get it done, though? The Ferrari of Aresi hanging on to that. And this isn't even for points. This is just for bragging rights. And the Ferrari holds on to it. Very nicely done by Aresi. He has fended off the Red Bull of non-runner. And on that battle continues. Let's jump back up to this one. Marcel Kiefer in second. Formula Danny in third. In the middle of this pack, Donoso for Steve in fifth, with Graham Carroll right with him in sixth. Less than 3 seconds is the gap down the road to Timp. And Aresi and non-runner are battling on. They were having a battle through the through Ascari. And in between them is Dawn Edom. A comparatively lonely race for him. And the last runner in 13th is the McLaren. A very lonely race for Jan Vejle. Graham Carroll still maintaining the pressure on the Haas as they come through Etofilio. 7 laps to go along Curva Grande. Graham Carroll not in a striking position just yet. They can see the next 4 cars just down the road. Donoso, Formula Danny and Marcel Kiefer. They continue their battle, but of course charging on, and Photon gets his name on the penalty board again. Less than 2 seconds separates Graham Carroll and this man, ACR Timp. It's all going to be down to how, and Jan Vejle gets his name on the fastest lap board. Why not? You need something to fight for, and he has gotten into the 121s with that 21.833 in. And oh no! Graham Carroll! Technical difficulties has befallen the Red Bull driver. That is tragic. From 6th, from battling Steve for so long, and he has fallen by the wayside. He is disconnected and his car carries on. It's gonna bring that battle just behind them, Carl Hamilton and Photon. Oh, what a shame. So an easy position then for Timp. 2.4 now, he has to close down to Steve with 6 laps with which to do it. And that is Danny and Donoso side by side. The Sauber fending off the Haas. Donoso then going to have the inside. Oh no, the Sauber just managed to fend off Donoso before they came into the Del Rogia, and just manages to cut back to the inside line. But you can see how determined Donoso is to get back on the podium spot through the first Lesmo. And again, Donoso having a look at the inside before the second one. Danny knows when to defend and when not to jump into fresh air. Oh, Donoso's got to watch his fuel though. He's in negative fuel at the moment. He's going to have to fuel save at some point. And he's going to want a decent run on the exit of Ascari, which he's got. He's now going to go to the outside. The Sauber defender the inside line, but look at the drive. The Formula Danny got on the exit of Ascari. Wow, that is incredible stuff. Dorniden again on the penalty boards, pushing too hard. And there's a lot of, I'll say a lot, there's just under 3 laps, if that overlay is correct, of spare fuel in the Sauber. So he's got fuel with which to defend with later on. He's going to have to, he's staying to the inside line. Donoso then jumping for the outside of the Rettifilio. And no, that is defended once again. But that's allowed Marcel Kiefer to run off. He's way out of DRS range. There in the background you see the second house of Steve as Graham Carroll's Ghost has come in. So that really has ruined ruined the run of the Red Bull. That's the shot from Formula Danny. That's how much time he's lost having to keep the Haas behind him. 5.9 seconds. Marcel Kiefer trails Brendan Lee. Once again, it's a pretty straightforward race for the Mercedes driver. But we will see what he has to say after the race as they stream on down to the Ascari once again. Donoso he's picking his time. Oh, don't go too wide in the exit of Ascari, which he doesn't. And again, there's that drive from the Sauber. Photon again gets on the penalty board. You see just how much pace Formula Danny has when he gets off the Ascari against Donoso. I mean, they're running very little wings as it is, but whatever wings they're running, it would seem that Donoso's got a little bit more of it. As he's just got no answer for the Sauber when they get out of the last turn at Ascari. Bit of a lock-up coming into Rettifilio, but nothing too bad. But that again allows Donoso to close right back in on the Sauber. And this lends back to what I was saying about the Haas running a bit more wings than the Sauber does. But look further back. Look who's just getting into DRS range. It is indeed the second Mercedes. Timp on his incredible recovery drive through Del Rogia into the Lesmos. He's got Steve in his sights. Just a touch on the AstroTurf, nothing too bad. Through the second Lesmo, the tail getting a little bit lively. He's got DRS indeed. But Timp, that is really going to help his charge. I'm not sure Steve's going to have much of an answer for the incredible pace that Tim has been showing. But we will see then as we are getting to the closing stages of this race. Tim can see a good haul of points if he can overhaul the guys ahead of him. 8 tenths just between himself and Steve as they come around the Parabolica. Brendan has started lap 25 of 27. 3 laps to go here at Monza. 5.7 is his lead. He can pretty much just coast from there and still bring home the top honours. Of course, that's not what he's going to do. And again, that's Donoso's reeled in Formula Danny again. You just about see, of course, the battle for Tim and Steve, but you can also see the battle of Donoso and Non-Runner and Tornado side-by-side coming into the first chicane. The super soft shot Red Bull trying to get past the medium shot Force India. And that is a recipe right with them as well. This is for the tail end of the points. Tornado in 9th, but he has got penalties on the board. Whether Non-Runner is aware of that, we don't know. I'm looking the inside at Roger, but nothing coming. Jump back up to this battle here. There is Tim. DRS open on the Mercedes. And the close in, but not being in a striking position just yet. It's Donoso. Oh no, that's a 3-second penalty. That could potentially drop him quite a way down. It's Kyle Hamilton. Oh goodness me, he's put his name on the penalty board as well. That will. But then Photon behind him's got penalties as well, along with Donita. Non-runner now. It seems that everybody wants to get their name on the stream, on the penalty board for some reason. Here comes Tim then. Steve, you can see he's defending the inside line. We are on the penultimate lap at the Temple of Speed. Then Tim having a look at the inside, sells the dummy. Now going over the outside into Rettifilio. He wants the inside for the second chicane. Bit of wheel banging. Both of them still on track, and a bit of a nudge back from the House of Steve, and still Tim has to settle back into that position. Of course, if these two fight too long, that could actually undo the penalty that Donoso's just got for himself. We will see. Not too long ago, Tim is determined to try and get past the House, but the best of those tyres would seem to have gone. He's pushed hard and long, but it is not going to pay. It's not going to yield too much more. You can see how much opposite lock he's having to put into that Mercedes. Down towards the Ascari once again. DRS open on Tim's car. Again, it's keeping him in contention, but he just doesn't quite have the pace when he needs it. Oh, no sooner do I say that, Steve runs wide on the exit of Ascari. Now is a prime opportunity for Tim. He draws alongside, but the Haas just has enough to defend the inside line of the Parabolica. Tim then, oh, he couldn't get the switchback he wanted. Oh, Tim, keep it out of the wall. Oh, goodness me, we saw Tim's run at Silverstone undo itself like that. That was because he ran the Supersoft too long. But that's how little grip he's got left in those tyres. There's Kyle Hamilton and Photon behind him. He doesn't have to particularly worry about that. He's just going to have to bring the car home. Oh, that was close for Tim. But the rest of the battles seem to have settled themselves down. Brendan Lee has come through the Del Roggio for the final time. Lesmo won. It's been a pretty leisurely drive for him. Through the second Lesmo. Down towards the Ascari for the final time. He's had no one to defend against. And once again, the esports champion showing his dominance. This will be, I believe it's 6 wins in a row. As Aresi gets his name on the penalty board now. Bit of a gap between himself and Jan Failure, so it's not going to change the position down there. But your winner here in Monza, 6 wins in a row, it is Brendan Lee, bringing home the Mercedes. Second is the Force India of Marcel Kiefer. Third is Formula Danny. Donoso crosses the line in 4th and gets demoted. Actually, Tim, due to penalties, is classified in 4th. So that was, I would imagine, was where he was aiming. I would imagine he'd love the win, but realistically speaking, that's what he was going for. Steve and Donoso, with penalties, have elevated the Mercedes up to 4th. Steve is classified 5th, Donoso 6th, Hamilton is 7th, Photon 8. Non-runner in 9th. Oresi is in the top 10. Dawn Eden once again denied points. It must be a curse of the Force India. Donoso was in the Force India last season, although for half a season, and was unable to score points. And it would seem the same is befalling Dawn Eden. And Jan Failer crossing the line after that early pit stop he had to do, just dropped him completely out of contention. Well, well, well. What a race that was. We've seen these three before occupy the podium spots, and once again we see Brendan Lee in the Mercedes on that top spot with the Force India of Marcel Kiefer and this Alba of Formula Danny rounding out the top three. Deserved smiles and celebrations for these guys. Great, great stuff. And there it is. That is where we stand then. Of course, some people have already left the server, so the real name's creeping in there. Let us see then who wants to talk. Who have we got? I'm not even in Discord. That's very, very bad. Hopefully they will realise I'm there and make themselves available. Because I was commentating on my own, I didn't think to join Discord. So that was my bad there. Let's see who is around. And we have indeed got Formula Danny and Marcel Kiefer. Hopefully we will get hold of Brendan as well, although he's not currently in Discord. There's actually very few people that are, unfortunately. But we will grab hold of two of our podium three, nonetheless. Usually going to break up a conversation between them, and and right, and no sooner do I say that, Brendan did indeed jump into Discord then. So we have got our podium three to talk to. First of all, I want to talk to Mr. 6 wins in a row, Mr. Brendan Lee. That must have been quite a leisurely jaunt for you. How was that one for you?
It's never leisurely. It's always hard work. It's always sweating in practice. It's always everything you have to do in practice. So, although the race might be easy, the hard work what goes into it definitely isn't.
So the devil's in the practice. See, that's where's the difference lie? Do you feel between? I mean, you can't ignore the fact that your form this season has been absolutely exemplary. I can't ask for a secret per se, but what kind of preparations do you go through from, in between each race?
I think it's not so much the difference in the practice I'm doing. The hours I'm doing is actually a bit less this season than I did last season. But it's more in the mentality. I'm much stronger mentally. I'm getting stronger each day, each hour. So it's all in the mentality, and that's where I really, really have improved from a couple of seasons ago when I wasn't that strong, and now I've had the best teamwork with Simon and Darren Cox within Esports for Cars. I've got the best team, and I'm able to put the results in because of it.
Wonderful stuff, wonderful stuff. Right, Marcel Kiefer, once again we talk to you, occupying the second spot of the podium. Looks like you really had to fight for that. What was it like from your side? He's actually muted his mic, so he might have had to go AFK. We'll come back to Marcel with that particular question. Oh, you are here. Oh, marvellous.
Sorry.
Right. Did you catch the question?
Yes. But
you did. Great.
My God. No, I got it. I don't know what to say. This race was really a sweat session, and also the quali. When I began to practice, my pace was insane, and when I practiced more, my pace got worse and worse. Somehow on that track, I don't know. It was probably down to screen freezes because I had to suffer a lot during the last 2 weeks from that on this tracks, and I don't know why. Maybe it's the track layout or how it's programmed or something like that. I don't know, but it was a good session. It was really difficult, especially starting from P3 on such a tight start straight. Then overtaking Fabrizio wasn't the easiest part. So yeah, and also I got pushed off the track a bit from him. I don't know if you saw it on the stream.
You know how busy it is at the start.
But maybe you will see. I don't know. I will rewatch it later. But yeah, I need to have a look on that. So, but in overall, congrats to Brandon. He did a superb job again, and like he said, we are only that good because of our team from Esports Cars. We are putting in the work, and the team mentality is really good. So without that, we wouldn't be 1-2 for another time. I don't know. Is it 6th time in a row? Is it? Or
it certainly feels like it. It's certainly been up there. And yeah, absolutely.
7 or 6 times. So this is already half of the season 1-2 by Esports and Cars. That's quite something.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I will stop talking now. I'm talking way too much.
On to our third place man then, Veloci Formula Danny. Well, again, you found yourself in quite a lot of battles. You certainly a lot of defending towards the end there. How was that race for you?
Hello guys again. Congratulations for the first 2 runners, so Brandon Lee and Marcel Kiefer, and again an amazing performance by Esports and Cars. In lap 6, where Carrix left the session, the slipstream has gone, so it was much harder for the pilots to overtake, but not impossible. But from P7 I decided to do a massive undercut and put the soft tires in lap 8, and it helped me out a lot in the first part of the second stint. But in the second part, however, I was suffering with the wear, and I tried to be very cautious on the throttle, and like that I finished with 80%, which is like a huge danger to get a puncture. But I needed to take that risk because after my lost connection last week, I didn't want another off-podium result. This week I think Marcel and Brandon had the best pace. They really felt the track, and congratulations to them. Maybe I try to bounce back in the next one.
Awesome stuff. Right, we have another couple of drivers wanting to talk to us. Always happy to see. First of all, I'm going to chat to Mr. Denoso. Wow, that was a very mixed race for you. Starting on the front row and really a lot of battling. Came home in 6th position. How was that one for you?
First of all, congratulations to Brandon and Marcel for the podium spot. Also Danny. It was a good race in terms of battling and having fun. But again, I fell a bit my start. I have to improve on that. And then, as I had 2 laps on the super soft from the quali, I pitted early to put the medium tire, and I knew that it will be very close with Marcel and Danny, and that I could have a chance to overtake them towards the end of the race. So that's what I was looking for. As Danny said, at lap 6 the slipstream wasn't there anymore, but overall a good pace. I was very happy to keep up with the guys in front of me, even with the medium tire. So maybe I can be a bit happy about that. But again, a race that could have been better, but at the end P6, so I will improve on the next one.
And finally, Tim, what a charge from you after you jumped onto those superstars. I admit I didn't think those superstars were going to last. I just had, in my mind, all I could see was you and Silverstone. I could just see you repeating that, and we did see your incredible drifting efforts through the parabolica towards the death of the race. Your heart must have been up in your mouth when that was going on.
Yeah, indeed. To be fair, I'm not really that happy for myself. Like, I'm just more like mad because I did so much practice and expected more than just P4 because of penalties. With my normal qualifying lap, I would have been P2. So yeah, I'm just so mad to myself.
So where do you think what happened that changed everything for you?
Yeah, I mean, in the qualifying, I just corner got it and just fell under the pressure. When in the race, the race went really well in the start. I just keeping up with the super soft guys, but then after Carrix left, that just it's just so hard to keep up with the guys, and overtaking was so much harder. So yeah, I mean, I knew that Supersoft in the end is gonna be so much faster, so I just didn't give up, and yeah, did pretty nice move in the. Well, I mean, almost did a nice move on Steve in the Parabolica. Didn't work out in the end, but he had a penalty, so yeah, didn't.
Revenge for Silverstone.
Indeed.
And that's good.
I learned from that race that I was gonna like pit lap 14, but I knew that that's gonna be too early. So because my soft is gonna be, my soft was so like dead in the already. So I just planning to like pit earlier, but I knew that from Silverstone that I just can't. So.
Great stuff, and that is going to bring an end to this evening's race. Thank you very much to those who have been with us throughout the stream. Always a great pleasure to stream for yourselves. Thank you very much to our drivers for putting on an incredible show. As always, it's a great pleasure to be in the commentary box for you guys. Thank you to our sponsors, Hype Energy, Elgato, and of course the recent edition of Thrustmaster. It is always a great honour and a pleasure to have you guys on board, and we will see you back here next time. Hamish will be able to join me, I hope, next week to obviously add to the commentary lineup. But for now, stick around for some more Apex Online action throughout the week. Until then, thank you very much and good night.